The real smoke should have been for the wife and the mother. It sounds like that's what she had, the real smoke. But for some reason, it kept pivoting back to Tigger, even to the point where, do I believe he hit her? Yeah. Why? She said this young lady had a track record of dysfunction and false allegations with the father of her children, but then went to excoriate and eviscerate Big Tick like that. Anyway, yeah.
Situation is interesting for a number of reasons, but really we usually see this type of trifling ass dynamic when it comes to women. The evil stepmom that doesn't care about the children, that see the children as disposable, that only want to be with the man. So to see Big Tigger as this step parent, this neglectful ass step parent, is interesting. This is going to be an angry rant, and it's going to rub a lot of you the wrong way. So I'll say farewell now. We've come to the end of our road. Big Tigger marries a woman named Alicia Brown, who's known as the casino mom because she left her 4-year-old in the car while she went to go gamble. But I can't even fault him for not digging into her past, right? What if he didn't know? Y'all laughed at the T app, but I think the T app is an amazing idea because you really do need to dig into somebody's background to see how far they've come. However, even if he didn't know she was a deadbeat then, he knew after her baby daddy, who had been fighting for his daughter for years, going on multiple syndicated platforms to fight for the daughter that had been neglected. How do we know that the daughter's been neglected? Because her neglect was on the news. When that man reached out to you man to man to say, hey, you're with somebody that is in control of my daughter, that has custody of my daughter, that neglects my daughter, and I want to check on my child. Whenever that happened and he chose to ignore that man, that real father, yeah, we can't excuse that. I'm going to say it slow because I keep saying it, but it's not clocking. If you date somebody with a child, then you need to be a parent to that child. So if you know that you are selfish, if you know that you don't want to be a parent, if you know that you don't really even like those children, if you know that you cannot love those children as your own because you didn't even want to have your own in the first place, do not date somebody with children. They are a package deal. Allegedly, this woman has a habit of filing false claims against her baby daddies. So when this man finally gets all that cleared up and gets custody of his daughter, she goes missing. And for years, he's looked for his daughter, who we still don't know. Is she alive? If she is alive and she's just laying low, I don't blame her. Because look at the mess her parents and the adults in her life have made. Alicia's beautiful. She probably got that snapback. She's well-spoken. She has multiple degrees. And on the outside, she functions well. But on the inside, Shawty is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And that type of narcissistic woman can break a man. Domestic violence against men or women is never okay. Do I believe that Big Tigger beat Alicia? Yes. Do I believe that he reached his breaking point? Now Big Tigger has been arrested, and it seems that men don't listen to the exes of their girlfriends or wives either, because Darrell told you that she was missing some screws. He told you that she was slower than a twerking turtle, but you wanted to tap that. Shout out to Darrell because he never stopped fighting for his daughter no matter what was said about him or done to him. And if you have a baby daddy that you know for sure wouldn't stop fighting for your kid or kids if something were to go down, then you need to let him know that you appreciate him. This shit made me thank my baby daddy and give him a gift. Like,
thank you, baby mama. Thank you, baby mama.
I would be lying if I said that it wasn't extremely difficult, not impossible, but extremely difficult to leave a situation while you're already invested. You guys are married, you have kids, you bought a house together, but leaving too late results in shit like this happening. To think all you have to do is actually care about kids in order to keep custody and be able to enjoy your freedom. Speaking of freedom, Big Tigger done got arrested, and I want to see his wife in the slammer next, if I'm being honest.
Based off her, right? The real smoke should have been for the wife and the mother. It sounds like that's what she had, the real smoke. But for some reason, it kept pivoting back to Tigger, even to the point where, do I believe he hit her? Yeah. Why? We ain't seen no court case, no trial. We seen photos. I think there is photos out. We don't know where any of that comes from. We don't know nothing about nothing. So, but we all ready to jump and throw old boy under the bus. Now, as far as I know, you know, I grew up, you know, I'm old, right? So I grew up on Tigger, Rap City, all that other stuff. I know he was in I think Philly for a while, then went to Miami radio, then he's been in Atlanta for a decade plus. From what I understand from people that I know in Atlanta, he's already lost his job at V103. And I think Atlanta Hawks, and there was a third one that he was doing. He was an announcer for the Atlanta Hawks, and he was on their personality for the morning show, V103, and so on and so forth. And she said this young lady had a track record of dysfunction and false allegations with the father of her children, but then went to excoriate and eviscerate Big Tick like that. Anyway, yeah, y'all got it, man. I'm on mute.
That's why I was lost. What did Big Tigger do? Was he involved in DV with the woman who left the baby in the car to gamble? Is that the basis of what she started out with?
Allegedly, yes.
Okay. And she was then alluding to how was he not to know that she was this terrible person because she had a track record of other incidents.
Right. And she got some really good vagina is why he ignored all those red flags.
Ron, make sure he pays attention to that part.
Yeah, he been on one tonight. He a little spicy tonight.
That little girl reached out to him and told him what the mom had done, gave him all the proof. It's not alleged that she left her daughter in the car to go to casino. That's a fact. Like, that's a court case she has for it. Like, that's a fact. It's not alleged, that part. The only thing that's alleged so far is that he beat her ass. Now, all of us that are parents, I don't necessarily see an issue with a piss poor mother getting her ass beat. I feel like it's karma. Like, I'll go out there and say that. But I also think that if God chose Tigger to be the arbiter of said karma, then he also must mean that he needs to go into jail, and like there might be a ministry for him in prison. That's where he should go. But we got to protect kids, and this is the wrong messenger, right message. But I do think that if a man is dating a woman and her ex comes to you man to man and presents you with information about your now woman that he also has been with, it is up to you to actually investigate that information. I agree with that part wholeheartedly. Because if somebody came back and told me that my son's mother was sucking dick for money and had my son sleeping in the trunk, do you not think that I'm gonna look into that shit before? Or the girl that I'm with now, I don't mind a girl with kids. If I find out that she used to pop pussy on a handstand, like, I'm going to investigate that because it's important, especially when it comes and that's when it comes to my reputation. If she now tells me that, if instead of he says, you know what, she used to beat our daughter and she used to prostitute our daughter and she used to turn our son out and let him turn tricks too, I have to investigate that because I'm not in what's that shit, in bed with a monster. Like, it would be prudent of me to at least interrogate or inquire about said allegation. Because if he knew this and then still married her, I gotta look at that nigga a little crazier too now.
Hey Willie, we gotta keep it a band, bro. You ain't doing that.
I don't know, but
most cats are maybe you, because you position yourself to be an exceptional individual, right? Most cats are not doing that, including the high earners. They're not doing that, fam. So they're actually looking at the dude saying, "Why you hating?"
Back on topic, and I think this is where sometimes, and walk with me for a second. This is where sometimes I think that the fact that we exist in this time doesn't afford us the weight of duration of humanity, right? Most things prior to structure existed through handshakes and words exchanged. So before there was banks, before there was certain institutions, most things existed where it was exchanged. However, there was always witnesses bared. You couldn't do anything one-on-one without witnesses. This is what defined something be considered covenant, so on and so forth. So whether it was marriage or a business transaction, most of those things occurred the same way. If someone was owed a debt, I'm not hearing this.
No, I'm doing that on purpose. I'm sorry. I don't mean to distract you. Go ahead, brother. Finish your point.
If someone was owed a debt, to what I've read and researched, most of the time that was, again, the exchange of witnesses. So it was an act, and then witnesses had to be bared. Marriage, in a sense, is no different, which is why I asked you, if you had two couples and you did not see them enact on what was maybe ceremonial, how would you be able to decipher covenant? Because there's no bearing of witness, and everything in the earth, even current day, has to bear witness, which is why contracts exist. Contracts are just an easy way of not having to corral most things. But I think sometimes, because we live in the modern time, we don't understand that we're not doing anything that has not always been done. We're just doing it when it's more convenient. But I'll land.
And that's not what I'm saying either. I think we give more weight, right, to state. And I was only simply making the distinction between marriage and covenant, and really seeking clarity on covenant versus marriage. This is why you have some people that get in lifelong domestic partnerships, right, and then expect. You know what hangs over Obama's head? True. The fact that he designated, they say he's the Rainbow Coalition president, right? Because he actually designated people that could get married, right? Same sex. You know that's a legal issue. You know the person. If I'm in a, not me. If somebody is in a same sex situation, right, and they're in marriage, not covenant, they're in marriage to this person. You know they're entitled to the same benefits that's allowed in these United States of America
by law. Yes, I agree.
Right. And so that's why I was seeking clarity on covenant versus marriage. But it could be nuanced.
Maybe
and I go ahead.
Maybe
Go
Dr.
ahead, Miss
Feelgood.
Pearl.
Oh, never mind. My bad, doctor. I thought
No. She was waving her hand, Bruiser. My bad.
So what I've gathered from what I've been hearing is, okay, so me coming from a Catholic school, you typically only saw the word covenant in your religion book, and it was typically an agreement between you and God, sort of like the rainbow. That was a covenant or a God's promise. I think what has happened now, because like what Chicago Willow was saying from a historical perspective, marriage didn't necessarily include state. We literally say separation of church and state. So we already know that that's a social constructed contradiction for capitalistic benefits, period. I just feel like now the covenant of marriage has changed. I'm sorry, the covenant of God between a woman and a man has changed into the legality of marriage, and it's absent of spirituality, period. The business contracts and everything else that Chicago Gorilla was saying, that's not recognized by God because it's based on money. It's a financial purpose. Like that's not what that was. So I think right now, a lot of us, we like mean the same thing. And if I even go back to Sharon's marriage, his marriage is more so covenant based. It's not based on a patriarchal social construct where I'm just me, the head of the household, and my wife doesn't have any type of say so, period. Like he really looks at his woman as the rib under his arm to be protected, his side to be his partner. She's not his foot, right? She shouldn't be stepped on. She's not his head. She's not a part of his ass. So I think he was looking at it from a more egalitarian perspective. So I think right now we are subjectively looking at these words and we're trying to find a commonality. And I think the commonality is the separation from God. But I don't want to keep going. I don't want to talk for other people. That's just what I've gathered from what we've been speaking about. Yeah, that's what I see a contract is. It's literally legality without spirituality. I didn't see covenant anywhere besides something that had religious aspects of connotation. But again, I could be wrong. Help me out. Expand my knowledge if I am, but I will land.
And I just got one question. Why on the row of the ball heads? I got here.
Yeah. First of all, because listen, that Brownsville hairline is way back there, so you might as well be down here with the
Who called him bald headed?
You might as well be down here with the rest of us.
Who called Sharon bald headed?
No, he's saying he's not bald headed.
Bottom of the row.
I know he ain't.